The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
Worried about retirement? Want to travel the world or just be around to watch your kids grow up, but you can't because you're drowning in debt? Now you can! With Heather Wagenhals and the Keys to Riches powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. Heather will show you how to stop chasing your wallet, eliminate debt, lose financial stress, and live the life of your dreams. If you truly ever wanted to have more, do more, be and give back more, now's your chance. Listen weekly to hear what others are doing to manage their money better with these proven strategies for building wealth with the Keys to Riches financial philosophy. Now, here's your host, Heather Wagenhals.
This part of Keys to Riches Radio, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio, is sponsored by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at keys-to-riches.com/free book and click on the link to over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Thanks so much for stopping by, everyone. We are so glad to have you. I am Heather Wagenhals, your purveyor of prosperity, and I am flanked by the maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks.
And we also have Dinero, the prosperity poochie here.
He's sound asleep, though.
But he is passed out. He will not wake up until I sign out of the show, although he did just kind of pick up his head and look and say, wait a minute. So anyway, we have a fabulous show for you. I'm so excited that you stopped by to get your money mind right with us today. On tap, we have Key 11, which is...
Forget the perfection
there
principle.
You go. Way to go. So yes, forget the perfection principle. We are only 2 away from closing out yet another season here at Keys to Riches Radio. I'm so excited. We also have a really great moolah word of the day. One of the things that it's kind of a moneyism that we'll talk about. It's not really a money drama. It's the what happens if we don't exercise this key we're going to talk about on today's show, because this key is so important and so vital when it comes to making your financial life a successful one. So first off, how about a moolah word of the day?
Sounds perfect.
Okay. So, by the way, happy National Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Oh, Christmas present. That's fine. Be a nice surprise.
There you go.
See what happens to you in November.
Exactly. November 3rd will come and go. It'll be like, what? Oh, yeah, hold on. It's somewhere. It's buried.
It's buried under the desk.
Yeah, but see, I would know that's not true because I'm sitting at your desk. But no, I got one of those sit-stand electronic up-down desks, and it's just amazing.
Oh, that sounds great.
Now they have you seen those executive chairs? Because I have to sit so much for reading, I had an architect's chair when I just had the standing workstation. It didn't cover the cheeks all the way. So I was always constantly teetering, and I like stools, but at some point your cheeks go numb and not the ones on your face.
Right.
And so I'm like, I miss my executive chair because I used to have one that went up really high.
I got my Herman Miller here.
Yeah, I know, because you're sporting the expensive stuff. I don't know if I'm going to roll that kind of cash, but because my office is all white with turquoise trim, I think I want to get an all white one. So I think that's going to limit my chances. But have you seen those ergonomic ones at that Relax the Back store?
I have, yeah.
And so
they're going to cost you.
Well, yeah, but what's so neat though is it's instead of a solid seat, it's split down the middle. And so when you shift your weight, when one butt cheek moves at a different angle than the other, the chair actually tilts to keep you from pinching off the circulation in your legs. It's kind of a nifty deal.
I'll tell you, this thing has saved my life. I mean, in that.
Yes, and the big monitor.
The big monitor and not moving my neck to see the screen. I mean, it's a different world.
I know. It's amazing what a desk can do. With like a perfect, ergonomic, well-fitted desk. And that's what's so nice is if I want to sit up straight, I can go and raise up my desk so I have my arms at the right angle to the keyboard. And then I'm looking right at my monitors that are mounted on a staff thing. Yeah. And then let's say I just want to kick back. Maybe I want to watch some videos. I'm editing videos. So I like to be a little bit more relaxed. I like to rock back in my chair. Yeah. So I can drop the desk down and I can put my feet on the desk. So the keyboard's in my lap. So now I got this zero gravity thing going on, and I'm still at the right eye level. It's so great.
Yeah, that's really
I mean,
nice.
who knew that just a desk? And I got it at IKEA. It was pretty cheap considering like all the other ones that I was looking at.
Really?
But I got to eat at that Black Bear Diner. You ever been there?
Yeah. Well,
in the Chandler area?
I've been to Black Bear in other locations in the world, but
Yeah, Black Bear Diner with their awesome chicken fried steak.
you should have the Swedish meatballs next time you're at IKEA.
You know, I thought about it,
Really good.
but then I'm like, furniture and food, just it doesn't occur to me that they go together, but
Yeah.
I'll try it next time. On your recommendation.
Oh, they're very good.
On your
You
recommendation.
like Swedish meatballs.
Yeah, so, well, I like meatballs. I don't know about Swedish ones. We'll find out, I suppose. I don't know that I've had them. But let's get to our moolah word of the day because my desk and my pleasure, well, actually, it's good. It is relevant to the audience because it allows me to generate more content.
Absolutely.
For everybody.
Yeah,
So there is a roundabout way, unlike our music trivia, where we get sidelines. It usually has nothing to do with the show. At least where you kind of like have your moment in the sun where you get to hijack it.
But even financially motivated people have to be well-rounded and,
Right. And we're here to expand horizons.
Exactly.
There we go. So, moolah word of the day, shall we? Real money.
Ooh.
What would you guess real money is?
Cash. Cashola.
Oh my God! How'd you do that?
Cabbage, baby. Cabbage.
I would not have guessed you would have gotten that. Because, when I was looking through the investorwords.com website and I saw real money, I'm like as opposed to counterfeit is what I was thinking.
Oh.
But no, but you're right. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed you got the word. So real money is cash used for settling debts as opposed to using checks or bank drafts or credit, etc.
Yeah.
It's actually using real cash to settle the debts.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
I mean, there's no foolery there, right?
Unless it is counterfeit.
Yeah.
But yes, one day, when we talk about, I should, because I'm going to run for president in 2020. So I kind of have kept all of my secrets on how I want to fix the economy.
Yeah.
Because, the other two yahoos that are running for office anyway, just like they're not going to listen to me anyway. So I'll just save my good stuff for when we get there. But part of my way of fixing the economy has to do with cash. And I actually got that. I have to say that I'm borrowing the idea from my husband. He thinks that we should have just a dictatorship, but I'm like, no, we don't need a dictatorship, but we do need strong economic leadership and a way to fix it and to fix the federal government woes, and deal with all of this, excessive taxation and the bloat and stuff like that. So it's a pretty neat financial plan. And I think that that's critical, to the success of our country.
We got to start getting you out there.
I know. Well, I know. After this election cycle, I'm going to start campaigning. We'll get our Heather for Prez stickers going and everything. And so we'll jump on that bandwagon for 2020. It's perfect. Why I would be a great president too, by the way, because in 2020, and this logic is just as valid as any other hyperbole out there for why people are voting for other people at this point. So in 2020, I'm going to be 50 years old, right? That's a half a century. That's quite a bit of experience. Yeah. That's quite a bit of living. So I'll have good experience. Yeah. Also in 2020, in numerology, I'm the master number 4, which is a builder, constructor of things, and I can help build this country to its next level of greatness. Forget about going backwards to former greatness. I want to go forwards to a new level of greatness. So being in numerology, I'm a master number 4. That means that the number 2 and the number 2 were in the last digits that got added together to come up with the number 4. And what do you know? In 2020, that's a master number year for me. Mm-hmm. So that is on my side. Plus, wouldn't it be the coolest birthday present if I got elected to the president of the United States on my birthday?
On your birthday.
It will be my birthday. Election day 2020. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
You'd be killing.
So that's, that's my logic, and it's better than anything else out there for the reasons why these other people want to get elected because they have no idea what they're doing.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I'm going to make my run for president. So we need to start looking for donors too right now.
Yeah.
So If there is a Republican Party, perhaps I'll run there. But I think that the Libertarian peeps are the ones that, certainly our Libertarian base as listeners have really increased dramatically with my involvement in the Atlas Society and Freedom Fest. But I think that, and one of my syndicators is very Libertarian also.
Oh, okay.
Libertarian leaning, freedom, liberty loving. So I think that perhaps, the Libertarian Party will get a boost this election cycle.
Yeah.
And I think that we could really make some serious a dent in changing the face of America forever.
Yeah.
With some of my stuff, because we know how people think when it comes to money. We know what drives people. That's the edge that we have over everybody else.
Yeah.
Just because you know politics doesn't mean you know behavior. And so I think that that'll help us.
Yeah. Oh.
So anyway, while I'm withering away this show, you guys came here for a reason, and that wasn't to talk about all of this stuff. That was to learn how to become financially free. And so you can donate to my campaign. I suppose I should give you some tools on how to become financially free, right?
Correct.
So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome to the Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. The Keys to Riches is a financial philosophy that teaches you how to think like the rich and be in control of your own money. It also gives you specific techniques to create or fix your credit, eliminate debt, save and invest, building wealth while transforming your current financial habits into healthy money management skills. And we do this one key at a time, 1 week at a time here at Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. I'm thinking of our other show. By the way, if you want this week's show on our Unlock Your Wealth Radio show, our headline show, is all about, because it's National Life Insurance Awareness Month, it's all about how to price out and determine how much coverage you need for the others who will be succeeding you. Mm-hmm. So, it's a really great show. If you don't know whether or not you have an insurable interest, you'll be able to identify if you have one and need life insurance, and it'll also tell you how to identify how much it is that you need to accumulate. You can also get the downloadable worksheet that'll help you at unlockyourwealthradio.com. So anyway, let's get started with this week's key. So forget the perfection principle is where we are. And we've come so far this whole entire season about preparing ourselves mentally, taking the right steps, asking and answering the 3 questions and addressing our 5 areas of concern with our 3-5 financial strategy, in addition to learning the behavioral techniques to help reprogram ourselves. The only potential hang-up we now have is what?
Boy, good question. I mean,
what we do when we make a mistake, how we handle the failures.
Yeah.
Because now we know better, and now we can beat ourselves up if we don't do better. And so that's where this key comes in. And it's called Forget the Perfection Principle, because next week we're going to do practicing the 3 R's, and we're going to learn all about what it takes to manage our money effectively, because it's going to be the missing piece with everybody else's budgets. Remember, we broke our budget in Key 7, and this piece, the practicing the 3 R's, is what helps keep our financial plan sound and always moving forward. But we have to remember, when it comes to managing our money, our careers, education, family, relationships, whatever it might be, is that we need to remember that financial freedom is a journey, not a race. Mm-hmm. And so now we're going to delve into some of the things that hang us up when it comes to successful money management, and how do we address that? And we do that by focusing on the progress of the process and not with the expectation of perfection. And so that's how this week's key is going to lay itself out. You are listening to the Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. This segment is sponsored in part by keepmyid.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown for Keys to Riches radio listeners by visiting our website at keystoriches.com/keepmyid and click on the link to start protecting your identity and your financial future right now. Remember to use promo code WAGS. So this is one of my favorite keys. This is some struggle that I had personally, and it's kind of how it evolved. in order to help me get over my hurdle, because I was so competitive, so young, and I came from nothing. And so I was always fearful of making mistakes. But I kept going anyway. And so I thought if I held that mistake in front of me, I wouldn't make that same mistake again. But that's not how the brain and body work. And if you think in terms of how we think about things, the conscious mind can only focus, and we've talked about this all throughout the season, the conscious mind can only focus on 7 to 9 things plus or minus 2 at any given moment. But the subconscious mind can focus on billions of bits of information at every given moment. I mean, it's the 12% versus the 88%. Yeah. The 88% is not encumbered by having to hold something in front of you. And so it kind of just ruminates. That's the point of the 6th key in Hope for the Best, Plan for the Worst, because we will ruminate about things and what if ourselves to death. If we block it out of our conscious memory, denial is a powerful tool. And it can keep us from addressing things in our reality, but that doesn't mean that the subconscious isn't constantly focused on it. And what you filter for, you find. And so if you're like, well, won't do that again, but then you keep focusing on it and keep bringing it up, you're bringing up the energy associated with it, and you're bringing up all of the pain and the emotion, and we get hung up in it. And instead of letting the mistake get into our rearview mirror, we keep it fresh. So we keep those wounds open so we can never quite heal. And what happens when we don't heal is the body is at dis-ease. That's where dis-ease, the word disease is dis-ease, when the body is not at ease. And when the body is not at ease, this is what suppresses our immune systems, creates all of these negative hormone dumps in the body as we respond to things ineffectually speaking, but we still respond to them. And so denial may keep our conscious mind away from dealing with something, but our subconscious still holds on to it. And when we make mistakes and we don't forgive ourselves first or forgive others, then we hold on to that. And then who really wins? If somebody screws you over, if they take you for a ride, if Bernie Madoff was your best friend and now you're broke and you hold that up, he still wins. Yeah. Bernie still wins. Yeah. But if you take the meaning of the mistake and find the message in the mistake and then let go of all of the emotion that surrounds it. And when I talk about forgiveness, and this is something that a lot of people say, well, I'm never going to forgive that so-and-so. Well, you don't have to directly forgive that so-and-so, but you must release that anger. And the only way that you can release that anger, hostility, resentment, whatever the emotions may be, the hurt, the longing. I mean, just think about when somebody breaks your heart, not only just breaks your wallet, but breaks your heart too. You experience a myriad of emotions, and stuffing them down doesn't help, because we know that they're just going to come out later in some other form that's probably more nasty because it's had a time to ferment. Like a wine that gets better with age, your anger will just ferment, and it can come out at the most unpredictable or unwanted time. So what we have to do is take that meaning in the message and forgive ourselves. Because even if somebody screws us over, we have to acknowledge the fact that we were a willing participant. If we're dealing in reality, in real terms, nobody, unless they held a gun to your head and physically reached in your wallet and took money out, you were a party to that transaction. Mm-hmm. And there's no judgment there. It just is what it is. And it's that judgment that we get hung up in that holds us back. Because what if we didn't judge the situation? What if we just looked at it, from a Buddhist philosophy, what is, and observe with a full, untainted, unvarnished lens, and looked at the truth for what it was, how this particular thing happened to me, and look at what led up to making that decision. Because if you remember how in Break the Budget, we had to do the assessment envelope, and we went historically back to identify the when things happened. It wasn't about how much we spent. It was what precipitated that spending event that was the problem. That led to the ineffective choice, or led to the inability to choose because hormones got in the way, and then we weren't able to make an effective choice. So it's not that something happened to you and you shouldn't forgive yourself. You need to look at what led up to you making that decision to participate in that risky investment or trust blindly. Because that's where the answer is. That's where the message and the meaning of the mistake happens. It's in what precipitated the choice. So could it have been ignorance, like not knowing that that wasn't a good investment? Could it have been your rush to just get involved in something and you didn't do your due diligence and you would have found that out? Could it be that you rode on the coattails of somebody else's reputation? Well, somebody makes it their honor to be a great investor. I think about Francisco d'Anconia, how he took all the people for all these big sums of investment money, and they didn't make it their point to know. When he's talking with Hank Reardon, how he screwed over all of his investors, he said that those people rode on my coattails, that it was my honor to be a great investor. And they didn't check out to see if those investments in my copper mines were good.
This is in Atlas Shrugged.
This is my Atlas Shrugged reference. I always go back to this because it's such a rich tome of life lessons that we can apply.
I mean, today you got all these people upset that they lost out on a Trump investment. That's not...
They wrote on his name.
Come on, I mean,
they didn't look at it completely.
Yeah.
Like Francisco says, if they would have done their homework, if they would have inspected one mine, they would have saw that the mines were being worked in the wrong places, or there weren't any mineral deposits to mine for the copper ore. So what was it? And we want to do this without judgment, because the judgment is what's hanging us up. And so we're moving forward in life. We're going to continually progress. And so the question becomes, if you're so wrapped up in not forgiving anybody, you're driving down the road, but you're not looking through the windshield. You're looking in the rearview mirror. And what's going to happen? A bigger catastrophe that you can't manage. You need to let go, because if you don't, the results can be catastrophic. And in the traffic example, it could be deadly.
Yeah.
What if you drove into a sinkhole?
Sure.
Off the edge of a bridge? Road closure. You didn't say the signs because you were busy looking behind you instead of looking what's ahead. Take the information that you can glean from it. If you pull out all of the judgment, and you just look at it as information and feedback, now we can take and say, okay, so if I don't want to make the mistake again, which is the goal of holding it in front of you to begin with, what do I need to do differently? And that's how this forensic investigation helps us, because now we can take a look and see exactly what it is that got us caught. And it's not what we didn't see, it's what we didn't do. We didn't do enough due diligence. We didn't educate ourselves enough to make an effective decision. We didn't know the difference between a good or a bad investment. Maybe that was what it was. Maybe our desire for quick money and greed overcame us. Maybe it was a trust, or maybe, forget trust, obligation. Well, it's my sister's husband, so I gotta kind of, invest because it's my brother-in-law.
Yeah, right.
So you feel like there's some sort of imagined obligation there instead of doing what's in your own best interest.
Yeah.
And that's why, you are not your brother's keeper. I always go back to this. In the event of an emergency in a plane flight and there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks drop from the ceiling. It is your job to put your oxygen mask on first before coming to the aid of others. If you are not whole, if you are not sound, how are you possibly going to be able to help others? My other analogy for this is if you are a pitcher of water and you have all of these glasses about you, you have your job, and then you have on top of your job performance, you have a boss maybe that you have to placate. Maybe you have a spouse, maybe you have children, maybe you have parents, maybe you have a special needs child, maybe you have an indigent child, maybe you have a charitable organization or a spiritual organization that wants a piece of you, wants you to either volunteer your time or money or both. And so your resource is the water inside your picture. And so you pour a little here, you pour a little there, and you're constantly pouring out. And if you don't find a way to refill that pitcher, you're doomed. And if you keep, giving for the sake of meeting others' obligations or their perception about you, you're investing for the wrong reasons. And again, forgiveness is for you. That's the biggest point of forgiveness. And we have a 4-step forgiveness strategy that you can find on the website. If you just type in the search bar, forgiveness strategy, you can find the worksheet that'll help you with this 4-step process to help you separate the wheat from the chaff. And I've had to do this with some very emotional, it didn't even have to do with money, but it had to do with very emotional issues that I was challenged with. And the people that I interpreted that screwed me over, which again, if I looked at it objectively, I was a party to it in some way, shape, or form. Right. So this isn't about assigning guilt, okay? But it's about letting go of the guilt. Save the message. The message is a gift. Ditch the guilt. Forgive yourself. And if it makes you feel good, communicate it on paper to the other person. Like if you want to dress them down, give them the F word 50 ways from Sunday, put it out there. Unburden yourself with that by putting it on a piece of paper, okay? Because ideally, if you tell your brother-in-law to kiss off after he just, raked you over the coals and raped your retirement fund, it probably wouldn't bode well socially, but you can still tell him to kiss off. In your way, express yourself in this particular piece of paper, this letter, and release the anger, the frustration, the commitment in a productive way so that you get the satisfaction of being heard, even if it's on paper. And then in a ritualistic kind of thing, take that piece of paper, light a candle, set it on fire safely in a sink where you're not going to catch other things on fire, and then douse it. Yeah. And then wash the ashes down the drain. It's very symbolic, it's very cleansing. Sure. And it'll allow you to move on. And if there was anything that I learned about dealing with issues, especially deeply buried stuff, some of our belief systems come from childhood that at the time we were so young that we weren't able to form an opinion about it. But our later years, we have an opinion about it because how we have developed our value system. And that's where some of the conflict lays. And lack of congruence inside of us is a prime recipe for making ineffective decisions in any capacity for anything, whether it's work, life, health, money, you name it. So we have to get internal congruence. And so forgiving ourselves, forgiving ourselves for beating ourselves up because of what others did. Sometimes we were so vulnerable when we were kids, we couldn't even defend ourselves. Yeah. We didn't know how to defend ourselves. We didn't have the experience. We didn't have the resources. And so then we feel guilty for not being smart enough. But we were kids. It wasn't our job. It was our parents' job to protect us. And if for whatever reason they didn't, or they were the perpetrators of the evil, either way, you got to let it go because it's going to materially affect your life and the lives of others around you if you don't. So again, visit our website at keys2riches.com to grab this forgiveness strategy worksheet. Use it for all areas of your life, but specifically when you've made financial mistakes. And ditch the guilt, ditch the judgment, and just remember, if you never fail, then if you never perceive your failure as failure, only as feedback, then you can chart a course and start in a new direction. And that's the empowering part of forgiveness. And remember, forgiveness is for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. You are listening to the Keys to Riches, powered by Unlock Your Wealth Radio. And for the maestro of Moolah Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2016 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.